trying to apply some pressure to get rid of Red's expansion base that happens to be right in front of us, to then trying to push the enemy away from hitting my second base with a bunch of flame hogs, to then having my own base being attacked by Red as a revenge match in order to take me out. And now you know what time it is. When you're behind, it's Condor time. I may be swallowing a cleansing beam, but more was happening. And as you can see, we're trying to get a revenge against Red at the end of this. So let's go ahead and see how that all comes to play. We're starting off with making a Marine right away. I am playing as Jerome. Dark blue is playing as Vortis, and green is playing as Decimus. And going against us, orange is playing as Pavium, red is playing as Atriox, I think, and yellow is playing as Cassano. And so the way I'm opening up here is just a classic supply gen. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can make a jackrabbit, so then we can go ahead and get the additional supplies that are in the middle. So our jackrabbit will be on its way. We will be a little bit behind in that power game, but hopefully with the additional supplies that we're going to get, we can take out an enemy unit if possible. So let's go ahead and see. There we go. We got a grunt over here grabbing those supplies. So my jackrabbit's going to go ahead and get a little bit ahead on that, and we're going to send our Marines as well to try and take this out as fast as possible so we can get those additional resources. I do see that red is getting the power right by that power node, but we're not going to go ahead and deal with that. And so when I said by classic build, this definitely wasn't a classic build. This was set up with a jackrabbit being made at spawn instead of a Marine, and we sent our Marine over to the supply right away. So we do have enough supply to go ahead and get that additional power gen, and right away that grunt is on the high ground over there, stopping me from heading in that direction. I'm going to go see if I can take the grunts that are in the other, take the supply that's in the other section there, build our mini, build our generator, and it turns out they have grunts chilling over there too. So there's really not much I can do in that regard, so we're going to send our jackrabbit through the teleporter to go ahead and scout the enemy, so then we can go ahead and see what they are up to while I go ahead and get the additional resources. So I was floating a little bit in general. It's not really the best play as a whole, but it is what it is. The play is going to be me making jackrabbits to go ahead and be able to pressure the enemy, and red right away is going economy, but as you can see, they are making a plethora amount of grunts. And so fun fact, we did play these people right before this match as well, which will be a separate video in itself. And yeah, I think this game's also a relatively good one, so I really hope that you will enjoy this game. And if you do, leave a like, a subscribe, or a comment. This time I'm doing it way earlier in the video, so gosh, I feel kind of embarrassed about it. Speaking of embarrassing, I have a Marine that just decided to take on the 3 nodes, sentinel nodes, by himself, and because of that he's going to almost end up perishing. But fortunately that wasn't really going to happen, and we go ahead and scout yellow, and yellow's going economy. At least that's what it seems like. And so right now things are relatively well. I'm like, okay, I can go ahead and try and grab a second base. Red's going a bunch of grunts, and then I look at the mini map over here, and yellow actually has a bunch of upgraded jackrabbits moving about already in the game. And yellow was scouting to see if I have a second base, which I did not at the time, but right now I'm not really at that advantageous position. And blue is actually going to try and push yellow on that side of the lane. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out those Marines. I'm going to go and try and reinforce with those hammer brutes that are over there at the top in order to help out to the best of our ability. The gunk is doing a good job. I'm going to upgrade my jackrabbits now, and I'm going to also finally start working on these nodes. The solo Marine, once again, he's trying to do all the work, and I don't think he'll be able to. And then these grunts show up at my second base, so I had to self-destruct it. And so things aren't really looking too hot for us as a whole in regards to just this pressure game that they're bringing out early in the game. Bunch of grunts, bunch of jackrabbits, and blue does have hammer bros chilling right at yellow's base, so maybe he'll go ahead and try and do something about that. The Cassano's ability to be the little explosive kamikaze bombs come in, and red now has shrapnel mines as well. So This is definitely not a good matchup, at least starting off at the beginning of this game. And so Jerome is out, which is good, but unfortunately we don't really have much that can help fight this at this moment. So I have to stay back just a little bit, just waiting for my opportunity to go ahead and do something. And now we're going to go ahead and drop in our little mantis. So then we can go ahead and hop right in there. But right now it's still not looking too hot. Red has a bunch of grunts taking over that mini base on the left hand side. The remainder of those hammer brutes that dark blue made is no longer effective. And now we need to just figure out a way to address this as a whole. I'm going to go ahead and try and re-grab the second base, see if we can do that. And now we're going to go ahead and start pushing them back with what we got. We have Marauders, we have the Gunk. The Gunk is going to do some great passive damage. And we're going to go ahead and put our leader up in the high ground in order to go ahead and just keep pressuring this base. So put him up in the high ground. His grunts are doing relatively well, but unfortunately those shrapnel mines are doing even better on me. So I don't even know which grunts I was trying to cheer for there. They definitely weren't the ones I wanted to, but we finally hit that 1,000 supply. So now we're going to go ahead and 1,000 power. So we're going to go ahead and work on that Tech 2 coming our way. And right now, all in all, definitely the engagements could have been better, but we are at least stopping an expansion base that is happening on yellow side at least. And more jackrabbits are starting to come in. They're going to try and threaten my base over here, but we do have units that we're going to be able to hold off relatively well with. So we're starting to get some Marines getting built, and unfortunately they're going to stop us from capturing that node, which is going to be very annoying. But we're going to go double barracks because Mantis play is going to be coming next. And then we do see ourselves red with some engineers showing up on my base. Maybe it was an error or something in that part, but we're trying to do as much damage as we can over here. And the jackrabbits are helping give the vision, but even the engineer gets away. Like right now, nothing really is going away. And so green is going to clear off the remainder of those units. And look at red. Red has the audacity to go ahead and get a second base right next to us. To be fair, it's totally valid because they have a very good lead right now, and it looks like a cleansing is going down on the army. I'm trying to split to the best of our ability. We do lose 3 jackrabbits from that cleansing, and the marauder is going to be taken out as well. So I mean, all in all, they deserve this second expansion base. We're not really playing like well enough. They're definitely taking advantage of us in the early game in order for them to be able to do this. So trying to pull out snipers, trying to pull out units in order to go ahead and see if we can fight this back. Well, as of right now, it's getting a little bit difficult. So trying to streamline my reinforcements to go ahead and try and fight red now to the best of my ability. And we're getting some units in. And turrets are being made by red right now, and I believe red is Atriox, so they do get the bonus and whatnot of cheaper bases, which is why they also chose to do that. So still trying to make some snipers, still trying to get some master doms out. Right now it's still looking rough. We are just losing units left and right over here. Shrapnel mine is going down. We're going to try and get our leader on the high ground because green is going to be coming in from the other direction, which is going to be very nice. And we're still producing snipers. Finally going to get the grenade ability because we need it badly. We need combat mechanic for our marines, but as of right now it's just getting harder and harder. And so their grunts are there to try to focus down on the turret, and the stun for Decimus is looking pretty good as well. But now there's a drop by Cassano with 3 warhogs, flame warhogs over there. So I'm trying to get some cyclops up, and we're trying to get some sort of push going, but my snipers already left the vicinity, and I have 2 more just running for their life, and Cassano ability popped on them, which means they're so much faster and it's so much explosive. And it's just kind of a problem as a whole, and we don't really have a response to this anti-air with these engineers being able to just heal whoever they want. So it's really a rough situation as a whole. We're going to try and move back our snipers. We end up losing 1. Jerome also is not in the best spot. We're going to try and reinforce with what we have, and it's honestly not doing too bad. But then all of a sudden Cassano is showing up at my base. That's a lot of hunters are being made by red so far, and orange is doing good enough pressure on our Decimus where we don't have the ability to do what we can. So I'm able to deflect the yellow back a little bit, which is going to be pretty nice. Gonna make some more Cyclops, but we did lose that barracks, which is gonna slow us down just a little bit. And now we need to decide if we want to go ahead and attack yellow or try and push on red. It's really stuck between a rock and a hard place. My army comp is getting better to fight those hunters because of the snipers that we have, and we're getting more master doms. But still, all in all, it's going to be an uphill battle because I am the only one with a second base at the moment. And so, still making the master doms, still trying to get infantry inside the master doms, and we're going to keep trying to poke this right hand side while I leave blue the responsibility of trying to clear up that left lane. But then all of a sudden red has shown up at my base, so I have to go ahead and buy a restoration drone and start heading back to my base as soon as possible. Red has a good like kind of pre-split going, and then a vortex is going down, so we're playing against a Decimus. There you have it. It wasn't an Atriox. I was totally wrong, which makes it even more impressive that Red was able to get that base as a whole. And we're coming in for the flank. We're gonna try and put down the Y move. There we go. The Mantis only stuns one of the hunters, unfortunately, and they do have a lot of units here, and we don't have combat mechanics for our Marines, so those heals are going to keep going in left and right. And here comes red attacking my base. I want to go ahead and upgrade the turret and see if we could do something about it. Green Desi comes in to help reinforce as well, and so now I'm going to have to try and produce more units to help fight this, but blue told me they're going to be able to try and hold that position, and cleansing beam is going down on the Decimus. But the Decimus is still alive, at least for now. We're trying to get a little bit more of a pressure, but the shield gen goes up, which is very unfortunate, and Rain of Fire goes down. And now green is under attack by orange, so green needs to start heading back to orange. And my base is just not doing too hot over there. I trusted my teammate, and unfortunately he is trying his best, but it just wasn't good enough. And now he's going to go ahead and get sandwiched by both red and yellow, but yellow was able to be pushed away, and blue's going to go ahead and see if they can do something about this situation. But as of right now, it's not looking too hot. So I am now down to one base, going to go to Tech 3, and we're going to start focusing on the next phase, which is just when you're behind, you got to get units. You have to go ahead and keep getting units, but not just getting units. You need to keep them alive. You now have to play the efficiency game because they are going to have an economy that's just going to be so much better than yours, just given the fact that we're on one base. Red has to have at least 3 bases. Yellow has at least 2 bases, and orange, we don't know how many bases that Pavium has yet. So it's a very tough spot to be in. And so once again, something that you see as a regular in this channel, it is time for the comeback, because for whatever reason, my early game is just never as strong as I want it to be, and I need so much improvement in that area. Like if I want to play mid game and late game, then I need to be able to transition to mid to late game so much better than what I did. Be able to assist my team so much better. And speaking of which, yellow is trying to make something. Blue is trying to make something out of nothing by pushing over there with some Reavers and Wraiths, which is looking pretty good at the moment. But look at the minimap, he is going to go ahead and start retreating, and a Pavium has now shown up at my base with some locusts and with Pavium as well. I'm thinking about placing the restoration drone. I'm going to go ahead and place it down because the locusts are going to just do some damage. I don't really have much heals at the moment, and speaking of which, look at that, they have their Reavers right there just waiting for me, and so my Nightingale is going to be taken out right away, but we're going to at least get rid of the locusts, which is going to be really nice, and what's left of the Reavers as well. So we're going to focus down on Pavium, and because we have that 2000 supply and that 2000 power conveniently sitting in our pockets and we're behind, you know what time it is. It is time for the comeback Condor. Now you've seen it, sometimes I make a Condor because I have to in this situation, that's my plan, but in this case, when you're behind, Condor is a great way to go depending on what you're going up against. So right now, nothing is really threatening in regards to vultures or mass air or anything like that for that matter. And so I'm going to go ahead and just take a guess like, hey, let's see if the Condor works. I don't really have anything else going on. We're going to upgrade Fortify. We're going to start bunkering down. We're going to get siege turrets because at this point, we're just going to need any additional damage that we can get from our base. So red has a bunch of ground units. Orange has shown to just be nothing but ground as well, and same with yellow. And so hopefully with this strategy of trying to hunker down until the condors come out, go back and forth, make siege turrets to help protect us on the ground, I'll worry about the anti-air later. Because we have a Desi that's also trying to go air, but it's just really hard because they keep shortening it down. And speaking of which, they have a mega turret hitting on this base, which is going to be a problem, but our teammate is going to go ahead and start taking the next phase of their precautionary measures, which would be to set up some blisterbacks in the back and then eventually get that cloaking gen. So then they'll be able to be a lot more protective than before. And speaking of which, the siege turret has an eye on the Pavium, on the garrison, so it's going to go ahead and start engaging on that Pavium, which is really nice. I have so much power, I have no idea what the heck I'm going to do with it at the moment. So we're just going to go ahead and just upgrade reinforcements. Let's try and get a larger army as possible. And look, pinged on the map, red is trying to be a little sneaky one to cut in through. Voridus drops his goo down. The Y move for the Condor comes down and it does so much damage. The Condor took up a lot of units, but now Cleansing Beam is going on that Condor. But it does look like red is being cleaned up and there's just not that much units left by him. So we ended up destroying everything that he could have had. And this was our cue. I pinged him like, alright, we just cleared everything red has. Let's go ahead and try and take another base that red just recently took from us. The blisterbacks are doing good, holding off orange, and now we're going to get ready for the push. Blue's going to be the one tanking for us. I'm going to send half my army to green just in case he's getting pushed, and even though my Condor isn't really getting healed, it's just going to be good enough to be put in the right spot to then be able to go ahead and take out the enemy at the top. And so red's still resetting their army. My second half is coming in to help reinforce this, but it does look like the blisterbacks are doing a magnificent job over there. And we just took out one of red's bases, even though it's technically their fourth base or something like that. So this is not an engagement that we're ready to take for mid, so we're going to fall back in that regards. But we do have the Condor just starting to do some work, starting to do some damage. We're going to fall back to make sure we're not taking too much damage, because we still don't have the heals yet. But those siege turrets are doing work, and we're finally going to go ahead and get an air pad to get some more Nightingales to go ahead and heal up that Condor, because the next stage after you get a Condor out is to get that Hero Vet 1 Condor, so then it'll be able to go ahead and consistently do more damage and it's a lot more accurate. So we're keeping our army by his base while our Condor is still there just chilling. We're going to get Fortify level 2 just in case, and it also helps upgrade our turrets as well. We do see red trying to shift over, and so here comes the Nightingales. We're going to go ahead and start making that. We got the reinforcement upgrade, which is always really nice. And now we're going to get ready to engage red. We see what red's trying to do, and once again we're in a very good position to be able to do so. The Condor is coming in with the Y move, and here it comes down. Oh, it misses him. Fortunately, wasn't able to get everything to it. The Condor is going to go ahead and start retreating because red just thought an opportunity to go ahead and try and bounce on that. And so we do have siege that's coming in, which is going to be pretty nice. But a vortex lightning comes down on the Condor, and the Condor is getting very low in health. A restoration goes down, and Cassano drops their leader ability as well, and our Voridus drops in a goo. Our person's invisible now, and Desi Drop comes in with the Y move. At this point, our Condor is practically about to die. It has practically 1 HP left, but there's nothing else that can hit in the air, so we're trying to fall back to the best of our ability and have the Nightingales come in, and great Cataclysm by the Voridus to help push back Yellow when he was getting pushed on that base. And we actually held. The Condor is still alive with practically no HP left. We killed the Desi Drop with this, which is always nice. Green is trying to look for an opportunity to push red at the top, and we are getting a little bit of momentum. So we cleared out red and we reset yellow as well. And now we have Decimus just trying to go ahead and put as much pressure as he can on that side of the base. And now orange is actually trying to push the right side. And this is pretty unfortunate because now green is kind of left pretty naked on this side of the map. And with these Reavers and Raids, it's kind of a problem. A Cleansing Beam, a level 2 Cleansing Beam comes down. A Y move is going to come down on the Condor as well to go ahead and take out the remainder of the units that are chilling right there. We're going to go ahead and actually get Fortify level 2 this time. I don't know why we didn't before. And now we're moving on to making some vultures now that we have a little bit of heals coming in. and our teammate is just not in a good spot as a whole. And so we're still trying to apply as much pressure. Yellow is coming in as well with some vet 3 units because of the drop. But the Condor is doing some good work. Condor is just chilling in the back. Siege turret is helping out, and we were able to clear out Pavium's ult ability as well. And there we have it. We have a rank 1 Condor now. And we now have a Scarab coming in by our teammate. And while that was happening, I was not paying attention and just swallowed a level 2 cleansing beam. And everybody died but my leader. May they all rest in peace. And so now blue is pinging, hey, we're going to go ahead and try and hit red. I'm just going to go ahead and chill in the back to help green restabilize. And with the siege turret is hopefully going to be good enough to help our teammate out in regards to trying to push red. But I am going to see if I can finagle my Condor to be in a good spot. But they have Reavers just chilling right there. And they're going to start falling back because the Scarab has shown up. But now blue is getting hit by yellow at his base. And the Scarab is starting to focus down on the base. Remember, he's going to get some good resources because of that. I'm going to go ahead and just see if I can do anything about this. I don't really have anything for that drop, but it does look like they're stalling pretty well. My rank 1 Condor is starting to do a lot of good work over here to start stripping down the base as well. But then you have a Vortex Lightning that's going to be coming down. I'm glad I guessed that correctly instead of a cleansing. We're going to go ahead and start falling back a little bit because now red is showing that they're trying to transition into mass air. At least Reaver air. It's going to be a pretty good response to deal with what we have. But we're going to see how that turns out as a whole. The siege turrets are doing magnificent. And with Decimus showing up with more air than the enemy's Decimus, we're actually in a pretty good spot right now. The Reaver is trying to show up as well. But I have a Condor that's going to be able to take all that stuff out. And now we're going to just keep on pressuring. Jerome has the high ground now in that garrison. We do have Vulture, at least a Vulture coming up. And this Reaver is just trying to do as much damage as he can to my Condor. But I have heals coming in, and he's trying to mass produce Reavers to the best of his ability. But now I'm going to go ahead and drop down a heal as well. I'm going to feel pretty confident with my position to just keep staying there. And now yellow is going to try and show up at green's base. And so we're going to get ourselves a Y move coming in with the Vulture to try and stop that from happening. And then orange is going to go ahead and come in as well to try and deal the pressure towards the Decimus, since that is our weak side. But we do have our Vortis that's dealing damage and killing the Scarab that's happening with red. And so red has Scarab. Whoa, he wasn't trying to kill the Scarab, he killed the base. Sorry, there's just so much going on. Continuous reinforcements are coming in with Pavium, but the Scarab is finally gaining momentum. We finally cleared out another base by red, a base that he has had for a good like 15 minutes now, and Pavium has disconnected. Now, I don't think this was a crash disconnect. I think this was I give up disconnect, mainly because of the fact that red had that base for so long, and we finally broke that. And Pavium kept sending reinforcements over reinforcements over reinforcements. And then yellow after that just wasn't able to get anything done on their side as well, which is pretty interesting because yellow and red were actually partied up together. I ended up finding that out later. And so we ended up getting the victory from this. The Hero Condor and great team play ended up happening. And so I'm playing as Jerome, went 44 for 111. Apple Pie playing as Vortis, 32 for 94. Ginger Brian Man playing as Decimus, 52 for 60. And there you go, red and yellow as Decimus and Cassano. They were a team. They went 134 for 64. Decimus had a massive economy. And Cassano went 75 for 30. And Pavium for orange for them went 56 for 30. So all in all, I thought this was a very cool match. I need to figure out to fix my early game, because these comeback games, as fun and entertaining as they are incredibly stressful. But I'll tell you this, I usually say GG to my team as in like, all right guys, it's done, it's over. But that means we can play loose and do whatever we want to try and come back in the game. So hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and feel free to hit a like, a subscribe, a comment, whatever you want. It is all good if you don't. And with that being said, you have yourself a good one. Have yourself a splendid one. Until next time, keep up the amazing job at whatever you're doing. I'm out.